نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Once again, uh, okay. Okay, once again, very welcome to all of the sisters, for joining via Quran Word for platform. And yes, today is going to be day 8 of Surah Mulk, inshallah. And we will be doing ayah number 8 of Surah Mulk, right? So, before going towards the ayah, once again, you all should be remembering that we were doing the rules of Noon, Sakin, and Tanween, right? And also that we completed actually those four rules of Nun Sakin and Tanween. But before moving on to the next three rules of Meme Sakin, I just wanted that we should be, having a revision for these rules. So today we will just do the revision of these four rules, and inshallah from tomorrow we will do the rules of Meme Sakin. Okay, so quickly, revising all of the rules inshallah today. So yes, on the first lesson of the first rule, we learned that what is noon sakin and tanween. Actually, this is a noon with a sakin on it. And yes, I told all of you that sometimes this noon sakin, when it comes in any word, we say this noon sakin as it is. We articulate the sound of noon in that word. Sometimes we hide the sound of noon. Sometimes we skip the sound of noon and we assimilate the sound of the letter that comes before and the letter that comes after noon in this example, right? And sometimes what we do is that we change the sound of noon to letter meme. So this is what we do. There are like four possibilities we learn, and of how we articulate the sound of noon sakin whenever it comes. Also, I said that there is this tanween as well, and the rules are common to these noon sakin and tanween. Why is it so? Because there is a noon sakin that is hidden in tanween as well, right? Tanween simply means that this like the double fatha symbol, double kasra symbol, and double dhamma. So this is tanween. Okay, so these are the examples where you can see tanween at the end of these words as well. We did this, and let's quickly see how tanween has a noon sakin hidden in it. We said that when we just scramble this whenever we write the sound of these tanweens in a simplified way, the way their sound is like the sound of this tanween on letter ba is bun, so we will just write simply as this ba dhamma noon sakin bun. The sound can be written like this as well, of dhamma, right? So you see a hidden noon sakin in the sound of these tanweens here in bun, in nin sound, in tan sound. So that is why these four rules of noon sakin are common to noon sakin and tanweens. Okay, moving on to the very first rule we did is named as izhare halki. Okay, so its name suggests what we actually do in this rule. The izhar means that we reveal, like we express the sound of what? Obviously, the rules are of noon, sakin, and tanween, so the sound of noon we are talking about. So izhar means to express, and when do we express the sound of noon, sakin? Whenever the letters of halq come after noon sakin or tanween. Halq means throat. Okay, so we read this as well that there are six letters of throat, which are hamza, ha, ain, ha, ghain, and kha. These are the six letters of throat, and whenever they come after noon sakin or tanween, then the sound of that letter noon remains as it is. Okay, and yes, we did the examples as well. For example, let's see this word anhu. The sound of this noon sakin n here, an, hu, remains as it is, right? There isn't any change. We express the sound as it is, like an, hu. You can hear the n in between, right? An, an, hu. Okay. This is the very first rule, okay? The very first rule has something to do with the six letters of throat, okay? So for this first rule, you will only have to remember these six letters, okay? Yes, moving on to the next rule, which is named as idgham. So again, their names are very expressive. Like the definition of the rules is, in their names. If you will learn the meaning of these Arabic terms, you will obviously remember the rule, inshallah. So this rule is named as idgham. Idgham simply means to enter or to merge. Okay. So what do we enter? Obviously, we'll see that what do we enter if after noon sakin or tanween comes any letter from these six letters, which are ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, noon. And I told you an easy abbreviation to remember these six letters as well, which is yarm, loon. Yarm, ya, ra, mim, yarm, loon. Lam, waw, noon. Yarm, loon. Okay, so this is an abbreviation to remember. So what do we do when these letters come after noon sakin or tanween? We skip these letters. Okay, so and what we do, we skip the noon sakin, and we enter or we blend or we assimilate the sound of the letter that comes before noon sakin or afternoon sakin and afternoon sakin. Okay, just let's see this example. This is mir rabbikum. So yes, you see a noon sakin here, and afternoon sakin you see a letter ra, right? This letter is from the six letters of yarmalun, right? So we will just skip the sound of noon from here, and we will assimilate the sound of this meme and ra, when the letter that is before noon sakin and the one which is after noon sakin, and we will say mir rabbikum, right? We will not say min rabbikum. We will not articulate this n sound here. We will simply say ma and ra, mir rabbikum. And again here in this example, afternoon sakin, we see a letter ya here, right, which is again a yarmlun letter. So we will skip the sound of noon here, and we will say may yaqulu rather than man yaqulu. Okay, man yaqulu. Okay, yes, this is the second rule of noon sakin and tanween, for which you will have to remember these six letter, okay, yarm loon letters. Also, there was an exception in this rule as well. I said that for this exception you will have to remember these four words, of Quran, that these four words are those where you see a noon sakin, and after noon sakin you do see these six letters of yarmalun, but still you do not apply the rule. Okay, for example, this first word here is dunya. Dunya, right? So here there is nun sakin in the middle, and after nun sakin you see a letter ya, which is a yarmlun letter like ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, nun. But we are not saying duya. We're not assimilating or entering the sound of this letter dal into ya letter. We're not skipping the sound of nun sakin from between them, right? We will just say dunya as it is. We will keep the sound of noon sakin as it is. Same is the case with this word bunyan. Okay, we are not saying buyan. Okay, we're not doing that because this is an exception. These words are exceptions. Bunyanun, and again, qinwanun, sinwanun, very similar words, right? You can easily, inshallah, remember them. Okay, so this was the second rule. And for second rule, there was another thing that this was a bit longer, like longer in terms of the explanation rule, because the second rule has also two types. These six letters, they get divided into four and two category, like four and two, right? So, and we name these two categories as well. So the first one is idgham with gunna, and the second one is idgham without gunna. Idgham means like joining with gunna and joining without gunna. What does gunna mean? It means that we make a nasal sound. Okay, we stay for a bit on a letter and make a nasal sound. Let's see first of all with examples. For example, you see this word here, may yaqulu, right? Man yaqulu. We did this now as well previously. So in this word there is noon sakin, and after that there is letter ya, right, which is a yarmalun letter. You see ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, noon. So you see a ya here, but when we are entering the sound of the letter before noon sakin into the letter which is after noon sakin, we are we are skipping the sound of the letter noon from here, but the nasal sound of the letter noon, the nasal sound still remains. We say may yaqulu, may. You see this, the sound goes into your nose, and you say may, this I sound. May yaqulu. We are not saying may yaqulu, right? We are not saying may yaqulu, rather we are saying may yaqulu. The nasal sound of noon sakin is still there. So this idgham, this type of idgham is called idgham with gunna. Okay. So the other type of idgham is idgham without gunna. And you see this example, mir rabbikum, that there is noon sakin here as well, but after noon sakin there is this letter ra. What you do here is that when you are entering the sound of letter meme into raw, it goes simply, okay? And the sound of this, and both the sound of this noon letter and also the nasal of this noon letter, they both skip, okay? So we say mir rabbikum, mir ra, me and ra. Mir rabbikum, you're not staying here on letter ram, raw and making a nasal sound, okay? You're not saying mir rabbikum, right? You are just saying mir rabbikum. Okay, so for these two types, you will have to divide these six letters into two categories. The first category of idgham with gunna, it happens when there are these four letters after noon sakin, or tanween, obviously. Okay, or tanween as well. So these are like ya, wow, meme, and noon, right? So for these letter, for remembering these letters, there is another abbreviation which you see written here as well, which is yumin. Ya, wow, meme, noon, yumin. And obviously the two remains, which are lam and ra. So these are, they come with in the, like, in the type of idgham without ghunna. Okay, I hope that you got this second rule of noon sakin and tanween as well, okay, which is called idgham. So yes, for the first rule, you had to remember the six letters of throat. For the second rule, you will have to remember again six letters, which are your Yarmalun letters. So this is the third rule, which is called iqlab. Okay, so again, the name, it does suggest what is going to happen in the rule. So iqlab, the word comes from the word qalb of Arabic. Qalb means our heart, and I said that our heart, uh, like the feelings or the condition of the heart, it keeps on changing. One moment you are happy and the next moment you are sad or you are angry or whatever, so the condition of your heart changes. So the same is the case in this rule, that something changes in this rule. Let's see what changes in this rule is that if after noon sakin or tanween comes letter ba, then we change the sound of the letter noon to meme. Like, we'll change the sound of noon because we are doing the rules of noon sakin and tanween, right? So that is why we'll change the sound of letter noon to meme. Okay, so let's like see one example as well. This is mim ba'di, mim ba'di. I have said this two times because of the reason I have written here as well. Okay, so let's first of all see the rule here. Okay, so in this example, there is this noon sakin here, right? Min ba'di. There is a noon sakin, and after this noon sakin, we see a letter ba. So we will, change the sound of letter noon here to meme. And I also told you that for, this rule is most of the times mentioned in Quran. You will see the small meme letter, little meme written on the noon letter, and this means that you will simply have to change the sound of noon sakin to meme, and you say min ba'di. You do not say min ba'di. You will say min ba'di. And also, how you will change the sound of noon to meme, there are two ways to do that. The first one is that you join the lips completely to say the letter meme, but very lightly. Okay, you join the lips, but very lightly. The second case is that you cannot, like, you will not be joining the two lips completely, but you will be keeping a little space between your two lips, and the space will be very like very small, as like a piece of a paper or something like this. So very little space, and then you will try to pronounce letter meme and say mim ba'di, right? So this is the third rule of nun sakin and tanween, which is related to letter ba. Okay, so for now we have revised the first three rules, right? The last rule, is like ikhfa, which is called like ikhfa, and ikhfa means hiding. Okay, let's see what we hide here in this rule. If after nun sakin or tanween comes any letter except the six letters of throat, right? Just remember the first rule here, which were like the six letters of throat: hamza, ha, ain, ha, ghain, and kha. Right? So these were the six letters of throat. Yes, we will skip the letters of the first rule. Then we will skip the six letters of the second rule as well of idgham, which were yarmaloon letters, right? The six letters of yarmaloon. And we will also skip the letter ba of the third rule, iqlab. And one more letter you will remember is the alif letters. So yes, if after noon sakin or tanween comes any letter except these six letters, then these six letters or ba or alif, then there are like 15 letters which are remaining. So then we will hide the sound of noon, okay? Because we are doing the rules of noon sakin and tanween. So how we will hide the sound of noon is that we will make a nasal sound. We will stay for a bit on the uh, you know um, we will stay for a bit and make a nasal sound. Let's see the example. First of all, you see this word here, tum. In this word there is a noon sakin, right? There's a noon sakin, and after noon sakin there is this letter ta. So this ta is not from the six letters of throat. This isn't from the six letters of idgham as well, and this is not letter ba, and also this is not letter alif, which is after noon sakin. This is letter ta here. So there are like 15 letters which are remaining. You see them above here as well. So ta is one of them. So what we will do, we will do ikhfa here. Ikhfa means hiding the sound of noon sakin here, and you will say antum rather than antum. You are saying atum, right? I hope that you have got this rule as well, fourth rule as well. So yes, these are the four rules of noon sakin and tanween. And if you remember these, you will inshallah be you will inshallah get really good with the recitation, I hope, inshallah. In the tomorrow's session, we will be, doing the first rule of meme sakin. The rules of meme sakin are very, easier, like simple to these rules of noon sakin and tanween, okay, as compared to these rules of noon sakin and tanween. So yes, because we have very limited time, so let's move on to the ayah, formally with ta'awuz and tasmiyah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير. Okay, so this ayah is starting with the word takadu, the sound. This ta letter is articulated when we put the tip of our tongue at the back of our upper teeth and say this ta very lightly. Ta, right? Takadu. The next letter is ka letter. Very simple. You're already familiar with this sound, right? Taka, taka. This ka sound is also light, okay? Takadu. Sorry, I have again written this sound here. I have mentioned that we are doing mud here. I told that mud means simply stretching. We will stretch the sound of ka here to two counts. Why? Because after kaf, here this kaf letter, there is this alif. We call this alif madda. So we will stretch it like the ka for two counts. Takadu. takadu. This dal letter here with dhamma and do sound. Do. You know, the tip of the tongue, it touches the back of your upper teeth to say do. Do. I said that this, the sound of this da letter is similar to when we say like the in English, the, right? When we say the, this is the same sound of letter dal, do. Takadu tamayyazu, tamayyazu. Again in this word is starting with letter ta, just like takadu. Ta, tamayyazu, mayyazu. Okay, so here in this word there is ya letter, and on that letter there is this tashdid symbol as well, right? Tashdid means that we are saying this letter for two times. So we will, say it like mayya, mayya, right? What we do is, like, just okay, we'll not make the things complex. Let's say tamayyazu, mayya, this ya sound. Ya letter is articulated when the middle portion of your tongue is raised towards the palate, okay? And you say ya, mayya, tamayyazu. Okay, so there is this letter za here. This the, this letter has this buzzing sound, this vibration you feel when you say zoo, zoo. Okay, so you articulate this letter when your like upper and lower teeth, they are like joined, they come closer, and you make this buzzing sound and say zoo. And also, you feel that like air is removed, and also there's this whistle sound in this letter as well when you say zoo, zoo. Okay, tamayyazu, right? تميزوا من الغيظ. Mina. Okay, again, simply meme letter here, just joining the two lips and saying mi, na, min الغيظ. غيظ. Okay, so here I'm joining this noon with lam here. Why I am doing this is because this letter lam has this sakin on it, right? So it means that I will join this letter with the previous one and say null, minal, right? Minal ghayzi, ghayzi. Okay, so this is letter ghain here. This letter is articulated from the portion of the throat that is the upper one. Okay, the portion of the throat that is near to our mouth, and there is this gargle sound when you say gha, like the GHA sound. Gha. غيظ, غيظ, right? غي. Why I'm saying غي is because you see a ya letter here with a sakin on it. Ya letter with a sakin, and you will join this letter with gha sound. غيظ, غيظ, right? So this letter, this is law, law. Okay, so this letter is articulated when you put the tip of your tongue at the tip of your upper teeth and say wa, and this letter is different from letter zal. Okay, this letter is the heavy form of letter zal. Letter zal, you see this written here as well, right? This is letter zal, and this is wa that we are doing here. This letter is articulated in the same way as this. When you put the tip of your tongue at the tip of your upper teeth, very softly, okay, you say the and wa. So for wa, you will have to make this dal sound heavy. How you will do that is that you will raise the back part of your tongue for making this wa sound. Wa. This is the and wa, the wa. I hope you can hear the difference. Okay, minal ghayz, wa. Okay, ghayz. So you will have to create a difference between these three sounds as well. Okay, these are not the similar sounds, they have difference in them. That is why I have written these here separately as well. Okay, this is a light letter, this is a heavy letter, and this is a different letter because the sound of this is like the articulation of this letter is completely different to the first two. Okay, so this letter is articulated when your teeth come closer to say the sound with this buzzing sound with this vibration. The first two does not have this buzzing sound. They are like the soft ones. This has this buzzing sound in it. When you say the and the and law. Okay. من الغيظ. Okay. كلما ألقي. Okay, so this is letter kaf here with dhamma on it. Ku, ku, kullama, kulla. Again, I'm saying this lam here for two times. Why? Because there is this, tashdid symbol on letter lam. So we will say kulla, kullama. Okay, so here I am, stretching the sound of this meme letter here and saying ma. Why I am stretching the sound here? Because there is this mud symbol on letter meme here. Mud means, stretching, stretch. So, how for how long we are supposed to stretch this mud? Let's see the hamza after this mud. If this hamza after the mud comes in the same word, if the hamza after the mud comes in the same word, we stretch that mud for four counts. But here, because mud is in one word of kallama, kullama, right? And the hamza after it is in the next word of ulqiya. So that is why this is another type of mud where it is our choice, either we want to stretch this mud for two counts or for four counts. Okay, so here I am stretching for four counts. You can do that for two counts as well. Okay. كلما ألقي. Okay. كلما ألقي. Okay. Ulqiya. So this word has this, hamza at the start with dhamma, and yes, I am joining the sound with this next lam here. Why? Again, because this lam has this sakin on it. So we will say ul, the sound of hamza, and we'll join it with the next letter. Ulqiya, qiya. Okay, so this is letter qaf. This was letter kaf, the light kaf letter, and this is the heavy qaf. Okay, so how do we articulate this qaf? Is that when the back part of the tongue it touches the soft palate with strength, and you say qa, qi, ulqiya. Okay, I'm not saying ulki, ki. I'm not saying ki here. This is qi, the heavy sound. Ulqiya, kullama ulqiya. Okay, so at the end, there is this letter ya here. Simply, middle portion of the tongue is raised towards the palate to say this letter ya, ya, ulqiya. Okay, so the next word is fiha, fiha. I'm stretching the sound of fi and ha both for two times. Why? Again, because of the muds here. Like mud. Which mud? This ya mud here, this letter ya, which is in sakin form, and this alif in sakin form after this letter ha. So I will say fi for two counts and ha for two counts. Fi ha, fi ha. Okay, so this letter fa is very simple. Fa, when the tip of your upper teeth it touches the lower lips and air comes out of your mouth when saying fi, fi ha, right? Fi ha. Okay, so this ha letter is articulated from the portion of the throat that is the lower one, which is near to the chest, and you say ha, ha, right? فيها فوج سألهم. Fa letter again. Air comes out of your mouth when you say fa. فوج, فوج, right? This is Jim letter here. This is the sound of this Jim letter is just when you say like jug in English, right? J, j sound. Jun, fawjun. Okay, so yes, this letter Jim has this tanween on it. So let's see what is the letter that comes after this tanween, right? So you see a letter seen here. This scene is not from the six letters of throat which we did in first rule, right? This scene is also not from the six letters of idgham rule, the second rule as well. This is not from the yarmalun letters, right? Also, the scene is not letter ba here, and also this isn't alif as well. So yes, this is from the fourth rule, which says that whenever after noon sakin or tanween comes any letter from the 15 letters. So yes, 15 is from those so scene is from those 15 letters. So we will do the ikhfa rule here. Ikhfa means hiding. We will hide the sound of noon sakin hidden in this tanween of jun, and we will not say jun, we will say fawjun, jun sa'alahum, fawjun sa'alahum, right? So yes, this is sa sound, sa, in which this is articulated simply when you put the tip of your tongue at the back of your both the front two upper teeth and also the front two lower teeth as well. At the back of them you put the tip of your tongue and say this sa with this whistle sound, and also air comes out of your mouth as well. So yes, we say sa'alahum, sa'alahum, right? You are not supposed to stretch any sound here because all of the letters sa, a sound, la sound, and hum sound, they have this single fatha on them, the first three letters. So you will just quickly say them, sa'alahum, sa'alahum, right? Okay. سألهم خزنتها. Kha sound. This kha letter is articulated from the portion of the throat that is the upper one. Okay, that is the portion near to the mouth, and we say kha with scratch, and we say like kha, khaza, khaza. This za with this buzzing sound, khaza, khazanatuha. Na, two very simple letters, na sound, noon letter, ta letter, tip of the tongue touches the back of your upper teeth lightly, tu sound, na tu, ha. Okay, so again this ha, just like fiha, comes from the portion of the throat that is near to the chest, right? Ha. Okay, so why I am stretching the sound here? Because this ha has this mud on it. Okay, so let's see which mud is this. Mud is in this one word of khazanatuha, and the hamza after this mud is coming in the next word of alam. So whenever the mud is in one word and the hamza that comes after it is in the next word, it is our choice to stretch this mud for like either for two counts or for four counts. Okay. خزنتها alam. Okay, so simple hamza sound here. Alam. Lam sound. La. Alam. Alam. Ya'tikum. Ya'tikum. Ya letter here, middle portion of the tongue is raised towards the palate to say ya, ya, right? Ya. Okay, so we did this, rule you say or whatever you want to say this. We did this yesterday as well, that whenever Hamza is in Sakin position, we make a jerk at that. Okay, we say ya, yeah. Here you see this Hamza. Okay, you are not supposed to confuse. Where is the Hamza? You can see Hamza like you write Hamza like this as well, and also this is also Hamza, and this is also Hamza here. Yatikum, yatikum. Okay, tikum, ti. Very simple. We did this previously as well. Yatikum, kum, nadir. Okay, Nadir. So this word has this the letter in it. We did this the letter earlier as well, that whenever you put the tip of your tongue at the tip of your upper teeth, very softly, you say this letter the like the. Nadir. The. Again, I am stretching the sound of the here for two counts. Why? Because there is ya madda here. This is, I have written here, ya madda here, that after the sound, there is ya sakin, and the has this, kasra symbol on it. So we will stretch it for two counts and say nadir, nadir. At the end, there is letter ra with, tanween of dhamma. So we will make the sound of this ra heavy and say nadhir. Right? Nadhir. Okay, Alhamdulillah, we have completed our ayah for today as well. Let's see if we have ma'am. Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum. Thank you so much, Amreen. And I really appreciate your stamina and the way you're struggling to make everything clear to your students. I really appreciate that.
Jazakallah.
And now it's my turn to, explain the meaning and a bit of translation and
Yes.
the stuff. So I would start from A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqqihna fid din. Allahumma hasibna hisaban yasira. So, dear sisters, you just have learned the Tajweed of ayah, verse number 8. And now we are going to look at the meaning, each individual meaning of the verse, and then a bit of explanation of these words, and then the explanation about the words itself. So it starts with takadu tamayyazu minal ghayb. Takadu. Takadu again is a very peculiar, a very special Arabic expression, and you would hardly find any equivalent of this in other languages, whatever language you speak. But here it is translated as it. It is a pronoun for Jahannam, hell. It is near, it is almost, means it is just evident, probable. It looks as if there is a, great possibility of what? Tamayyazu min al-ghayz, of bursting of Jahannam from anger, from rage, from fury. Because we saw Jahannam wriggling with anger yesterday and demanding for more and more fuel in the form of human beings. And then I shared with you a narration of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finally would put his foot on the hell to quieten it, because it would be just making a complete mess there, getting out of control because of that rage, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself will intervene. And it is just evident the way Jahannam is behaving that it will burst. Tamayyaz basically is from Mim, Ya, and Zai, 3 Arabic letters. And the word is used in my native language, Urdu, as well, which means to create a distinction between right or wrong, between two opposites, right? And this is the general and more common meaning. But the special meaning and the meaning that is used here in the Quran is bursting, is the meaning of bursting. Tamayyaz word is used for something bursting, exploding as well. So Jahannam, the hell, is in such a fury that it looks the way it is behaving that it will just burst and will cause devastation everywhere around. But obviously, it won't do that without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it behaves in that way just to terrify the people more. Those who are going to be the fuel of the hellfire and those who are watching it behaving like that. Minal ghayb. Ghayb basically is a word used in Arabic for anger. And ghayz is the extreme degree of anger. Another word very commonly used for anger in the Quran is ghadab. Ghadab. But ghayz is the extreme degree where the person who is angry can cause harm to himself and to others as well. So takadu tamayyizu min al-ghais. Takadu, it is near, it is almost possible. Tamayyizu, that she means Jahannam, the hell bursts min al-ghaibi, from the rage, anger, or fury, whatever you call it. As though bursting with rage. Such is the condition of hell mentioned here. And again, everything is stated in past tense because Allah, the creator of time, for him there is no past and future and present. It is just time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when he has decided, the things are predestined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah doesn't need that division of present, past, and future for himself. Basically, when he has planned the things, he has destined them, it is as if they are already done. So that is why the past tense is being used. For these future events, that we will be made to witness the horrors of the last hours, for example. But for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the concept of time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these things are already done. So this is another thing which, shows the difference between the creator and the created. And the next is kullama, whenever ulkiya, it was cast, put, means the human beings were put, they were thrown. And as I told you yesterday, that no one would, walk into hell, they would be thrown into by force, flung in the flames of fire. Whenever ulkiya fiha, fi is a preposition and ha is the pronoun for hell, because hell, I've been telling you repeatedly, is a feminine noun in Arabic. So whenever a fauj is an army, a company, huge, a big group of people. And from Quran and narrations of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have instances that people individually and then in big groups will be led towards the fire. And whenever hell will receive a new entry of an army of disbelievers, a company of sinners, Hazanatuha means the caretakers, the in charges of the heavens. Sa'alahum, they would ask them, the people in that group. And the caretakers of hell, the in charges of hell, basically are meant to be the angels, and very powerful, strong angels. Even the narration of Prophet Muhammad mentions their number as well, that they are 19 in all, and their chief is called Malik. Malik is the name of the chief, is the in charge of all those caretakers of hell. So very sarcastically, Hazanatuha, the keepers, the caretakers of hell, Sa'alahum, they will question them, the disbelievers, the people thrown in the hellfire. They would ask them, although they know it really very well, but just to humiliate them further on. Alam, is a question word here, just a letter used for question. Lam is to make a statement negative. Alam, didn't there not, or didn't there no Nazir? The last word is Nazir. Didn't no Nazir or warner come to you, Yatikum? Alam, did not Yatikum came to you, Nazirun, a warner, someone who warned you that you could have this and you could land into trouble because of what you are doing. And the warner, Nazir, basically is the prophet or the prophet sent at different times of history. And now when the chapter of prophethood is closed, it is Quran acting as a nazir, as a warner. And very sarcastically, they would ask these people, what brought you here? How come? Why? Didn't you receive a warner who came to you? And the question basically is meant to humiliate them further on. And they would want that these sinners should make a confession with their own mouth, in their own words, that yes, yes, no one else but we ourselves are responsible for landing ourselves into this problem, trouble. You know, it is human psychology that we keep on avoiding a public confession of our wrongs or our misdeeds. And as long as they are hidden from public eye, we are happy and we think that we are really very smart. But it is something, you know, something like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is allowing for them. Allah wants for certain people to go really very far away on the road of wickedness, crime, sin, so that they should have the most tormenting punishment in the end. And the man sometimes starts attributing the fact as if he's doing everything perfectly right, as if the dear Lord is still pleased with him, as if it's just okay to act like that, in that manner, showing that wickedness, that negativity, that sinfulness. But when the same person is made to make a public confession, it is one of the most humiliating things that can go with anyone. And we have seen worldly examples of such people. The people involved in crime sometimes are made to face the camera and the public, and their videos go viral, and they're admitting their crimes. That still is the case in this world. But the things, the magnitude of the seriousness of crime is going to be infinitely, you know, more serious, because the confession would be made in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before the entire mankind. And the humiliation, the magnitude, the degree of humiliation is going to be beyond imagination. So this is how they would be insulted there. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect and save us from such humiliation in this world and in the hereafter as well. Because it is something that none of us wants to imagine, even for a second in this world even. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay, actually the bar is at the top is gone. So I thought that there's something wrong with some technical mistake.
No,
So
it's
should I
fine.
carry on?
Yes, ma'am,
It's
you
fine?
can. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the way they will be humiliated. And they would ask, didn't you receive any Nazir, the warner? And in the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad and in the lifetimes of different prophets, the prophet themselves were the warners. And later on the scripture they left. And now it is the Quran which is the warner. And Nazir is to warn. And warning is done in two ways. The prophets usually warn the people in a very affectionate and a loving and a kind way, because they are sincere. They are the well-wishers of the people. And they want to save them from this horrible end. But there's another style of warning people in a threatening way, in a harassing way, warning people of the consequences, exploiting people. But this warning that are mentioned in the Quran, and the word Nazir particularly used as a warner, is someone who wishes really well for you. He is your well-wisher. Whether it's a man, prophet, or it's the book, scripture. And we have to take these warnings really very seriously. Because finally, on the day of judgment, we won't have any excuse. And Allah would ask us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would ask every single individual human being, didn't you receive my message? Even once the deceased is put inside the grave, he's asked three main questions. And one of those questions is about this warner. The image, Allah knows best in what form or in what shape the thing will go on. But the effigy, image of Muhammad SAW will be shown. And the deceased will be asked, do you know this person? And those who believe in Muhammad SAW, they would say that, yes, I'm his follower. He's my prophet Muhammad. Although we haven't seen Muhammad SAW. But if Allah keeps us steadfast at that moment, and we have to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, supplicate for the steadfastness of that moment, we definitely would say that, yes, we can recognize the person. We followed him. And he was the last and final prophet of Allah Muhammad. Peace and mercy of Allah be upon him. So we definitely have that warner there. Not only we the Muslims, but the entire human race has got the human beings coming on the face of this earth till the last hour is established. They have this warner. So very sarcastically, the caretakers of hell will be asking them, just to make them realize that what a big mistake they have done. And they will make a confession, and the confession words are stated in verse number 9 that we'll do inshallah tomorrow. So this is what it is all about. And still very briefly, we can afford to go deeper down into the meaning and comprehension of these words, but I think for now it's just enough. And I will hand over the Zoom meeting to Amreen once again to carry on with her feedback and listening of the recitation of the participants of this meeting. So it is over from me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah, ma'am. Okay.